Hello, my name is Alan Gorman. Welcome to Management 4030, Current Management Issues. The way that Management 4030 works is different professors will decide to teach a particular course based upon their interest area. So someone might teach international marketing, for example. Well, my background is leadership and leadership development. So that's what I teach for Management 4030 is a basic introduction to leadership and leadership development. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I am an assistant professor here at ETSU. This is my second year teaching at ETSU. My background is, my PhD is in industrial organizational psychology. I have a PhD from University of Tennessee, Knoxville. Got my master's in industrial organizational psychology from the University of Nebraska at Omaha. And I got my BA in psychology from the University of Georgia. Go Dogs! So why do we care about leadership? Well, hopefully through this course I'll show you why leadership matters and help you to understand why you should start to develop your own leadership potential now, and what are some of the things that you can start to do that develop your leadership potential. So why does leadership matter? Well, an easy way to think about why leadership matters is think about all of the bad bosses that you've ever had. Think about a bad manager that you've had at one point in your career. You probably have had a boss who you just didn't like, who was not very responsive to you, who when you showed up to work you just didn't want to be there because you didn't want to be around that person. Well, that shows us that leadership matters because it influences the behavior and the performance of other people. And there's actually research out there that shows that having a bad boss is actually really bad for us. It makes us sick. There's research out there, which we'll talk about in this class, that shows that bad bosses stress us out and makes us physically sick. And that's really a problem. And the goal of this course is to help you guys to develop your own leadership capabilities so you don't end up being the bad boss. One of the things I do in my spare time is leadership development consulting. And one of the things that I see quite often with young professionals today is they don't necessarily, nobody goes out to be a bad manager. But in many cases, they don't know what they're doing. They haven't had much training on how to be a manager or a leader. They may have been identified as having leadership potential. Next thing you know, they're thrust into these positions of taking on leadership roles without a whole lot of guidance and without a whole lot of support from the organization. And next thing you know, they're put into these situations that they're not really ready for. Most managers, I would argue, really aren't necessarily bad managers. They just really don't know what they're doing and they need a lot of help. So my goal for this class is to help you guys to develop your leadership potential and develop your leadership capabilities so that when you take on those new roles and those new positions that you're not completely lost. So hopefully by the end of this course you'll be able to explain why leadership matters. What are some of the basic theories and foundations of leadership? What are some of the more contemporary ideas around leadership? And then what are the more contemporary ideas about improving our own leadership and developing our own leadership potential? So I look forward to having you in this course, and hopefully you'll be able to gain a few insights from the things that we talk about. We'll dig deeper into the research on leadership and leadership development, and I look forward to having you in the course. Thanks.